muscles, and you want to shadow all that, you can just seriously, you can just do a line, and you can just blend over the top of that, and all that paint will go right down in those cracks, and you'll get a nice gradation across all those crazy muscles that, those aren't real. That's
Some of them might be fur.
That's ridiculous.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that.
My gosh. It looks real uncomfortable to put a shirt on.
Just don't put your arms down.
Yeah.
That is a lot forgiving.
I'm going to work out so much I can never put my arms in my pockets.
You eventually become
You're
governor.
putting your arms in your pockets in the first place.
To get money for my coffee.
Usually it's the hands you put in the pockets.
And really deep pockets.
Yeah, they call me,
You're on the inside pocket.
I'm Uncle Deep Pockets. Come on now.
Eventually you become governor of California.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think even he had to work down.
We're going to put some shadows around and darken up the little area. That way it gives it a little exaggeration when I go to put the highlights on. That's a trick. When you go to put the highlights on, if you darken up around where the highlights are, man, your highlights are way better. Darken that. See, once I get going, you can really start to move and practice this. You can really get some speed out of it. Trying to make it where y'all can crowd around. Seriously, I'm not. I only have personal space when I'm not teaching. Then don't crowd around me. I get a little nervous. I'm like, I'm not teaching class. What do you want? And boom! I shaded a cloak. I'm gonna grab the hair dryer. Just a hair dryer. Not your leg. Where's the leg? How long was that? Minus my mouth.
At least however long it was.
You're more keeping track than I usually do.
Pass it around.
So why spit versus water?
Magic.
Okay.
Like seriously, water will not give you the same effect.
Okay.
It's seriously. There's something about the way this paint and the spit works together that lets the paint break apart and get you that diffusion of color.
Huh. Okay.
Now the hard part, highlighting. It's really, really hard. That's not that hard, but it's really, really hard.
So you brush it just by any craft store? You have to order them from.
I order mine, the Winsor Newtons. Also, there's another company called Raphael, and you want the 8404s. Write this down seriously. If this really, because the first time somebody told me about the Raphaels, I ordered the 8408s because my brain doesn't work very good. So the 8404s, Raphael 8404s, or Winsor Newton Series 7s. With the Series 7s, a note, they sell miniature series. And you're going to be real tempted into buying that, right? Because we're painting miniatures. Do not buy the miniature series of Series 7s. They're too tiny for what we do. You want the brush?
Yeah, just so I can get the.
Good luck finding a name on those. I've worn them out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there you go. Winsor Newton Series 7. You can find these on Amazon, or there's an art company called Dick Blick.
Okay.
Giggle,
Put
giggle, TT.
Dick into the search engine.
Yeah.
You'll only ever do that once.
This is absolutely you'll never forget the B again.
Really.
So, where was I at? Got it? Did you get it? Yeah. My son. Poor guy.
Want the teacher.
You can get these at, okay, so at Amazon, you can usually order these at Amazon, and you're gonna freak out. The price, they're like $30, but most of the time you can find them for $15 each. And that's how much, I seriously haven't bought a different kind of paintbrush in so long. What's a normal paintbrush costing you?
$4.
Naturally, $4.
$4?
You're saving
How long does
yourself.
it last you?
Lasts
Probably
about
a year or two.
A year or two? How often do you paint?
No,
I paint 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. $4 paintbrush lasts me about 2 days. About 2 days.
worth it.
I will beat the crap out of a $4 paintbrush in about 2 days. I can spend $15 on, not on sale, I can spend $30 on 2 Winsor Newtons, a number 1 and number 2. And these 2 Winsor Newtons have been with me for about 2 years.
Wow.
And I paint seriously 10 hours a day. So,
I'm getting new paper.
what do you want? do you want cheap today or always good? Now, and I'm not even good at taking care of my brushes. I'm the first person to admit I'm bad about, oh my gosh, it's midnight, bedtime, and I just kind of rinse them out. And then like once a week I go, yeah, I should probably run some soap through these. Pink soap is really good. There's also this cake stuff. Anybody familiar with pink soap? You get it at art stores. You have answered yes to everything.
Well, I've been painting since I was 10.
He knows everything. He's probably better than
I
you.
suck at airbrushing. That's why I came to
Oh,
No, it's all right.
seriously, I was really concerned about like it's atomized plastic, and I don't want that in your
We
house.
could have set it up outside in the patio.
And that would have been really fun because it's gorgeous outside right now.
Put it right here, you never know.
But you never know. I didn't bring. I don't have masks for everybody, so it was more of a concern of.
Well,
And-
it would have been a case of put that on the thing where you say, bring a mask.
Yeah, and it's just a lot because you really need a really specific mask, and they're about $20. You don't want the little
Hospital.
hospital
Yeah.
mask. It doesn't.
No, you
it
need the one
don't-
that's for the painting with the little ventilator on it.
Yeah, it's seriously a $20 mask for me to make sure that you're not getting.
Yeah, I get
You do
10%
lungs.
discount of those.
Now you use these same
I need
paints.
your web address.
Do you use these same paints for airbrushing?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I see that before you start painting the highlights again?
Yep. Absolutely.
So you don't buy the Reaper blah blah airbrush line. You know?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I seriously, I do buy, Vallejo makes a really, really wonderful, primer. It's called Surface Primer and that is seriously straight out of bottle, straight into the airbrush, and wonderfully, wonderfully thin, wonderful coverage. Once again, make sure nobody's in the house wearing masks because it's probably really bad for you. This stuff, I can mix it up with a little water, also a little Windex. Once again, wear your mask because Windex is really bad for you. It is ammonia, and I go straight onto the model with that. So really good stuff. So let's do highlights. What's my highlight? Iron Hole and Morrow. Morrow is a pure white. Also, even if you don't like P3 paints, I highly recommend their Morrow white. Over all the other whites, every other white, I'm sure you've had problems with painting white paint. Kind of chalky, right?
Start.
It's chalky. This stuff is not. This is butter smooth. Take a look at that. This is a wonderful white color.
Yeah, but I can't imagine your paint staying on a shelf for too long. You know, you kind of go through them,
Oh
right?
my god.
Yeah, how long does one of those bottles last you?
Not long. It depends on the color. Black and white, of course, because you know I never paint pure black. I never paint pure white, but I add them to a lot of different things for different effects. Seriously, I buy those almost every time I go to the game store. Like, I mean, I go to the game store every week, but so it's not good. But at least once a month, I'm buying at least some paint that I've run out of. So I burn through paint pretty quick. So highlights, we're gonna do the exact same thing, except for with the right brush in your mouth. That happens sometimes. I'm just gonna mix with a little white and gray. Get a nice highlight color. Seems a little light, doesn't it? You're not adding too much, for this technique, you're really not adding too much water to this. You want fairly thick paint because you want the brush to be, you don't want it to dry very quick for the tube brush. I'm gonna go the exact opposite way here. I'm just gonna go That's not light enough. We're just gonna add more. Just really exaggerate it. Let's go all out. Yes. There you go. It's awkward to hold. Sorry, guys. So I can seriously just do like a little line there. You want to be a little more careful in the highlighting. Just put a little line there. You just barely touch it with a little bit of the spit on the brush to blend that out. Want a nice crisp line across that. Bring it together. Across the top. Leave that little shadow there because that looks cool. I'm gonna go over here. See, I put like kind of a big spot there. I'm just gonna blend that out. Line. Don't go too deep. Just soften that edge a little. And if you get, that's the other thing about this technique, it's really nice because if you make a mistake, the paint's all wet, and you just eat it. It's like, get rid of that. Go on. Yeah, here's make it disappear.
It's a show for people who eat strange things.
That's me. It's like, what do you eat that's weird? Paint all day long.
10 hours a day.
You have no idea how much paint is in me. It's like time for lunch. I'm like, I'm full.
Probably hoping you'll find a rainbow.
Probably. It's really nice when I puke. It's gorgeous.
You realize that one's going on YouTube.
Let's just say, when I puke, it's like a Pollock painting.
And probably an accurate description. No. No.
Tells you what I think of Jackson Pollock. That guy. Who puts cigarettes in paintings? It's ridiculous. If I could do it on a miniature, it'd be awesome, though. The judges at the painting competition is like, what technique did he use? I'm like, cigarette.
It's a new form of dry brushing.
Pretty awesome. You should try it. And get the other side. That's the trick about highlighting. Highlighting is kind of a trick because you want to get. With shadow, you have that natural, like you asked, you have that natural crevice where the shadow goes, right? Well, with highlighting most of the time, like, what do you end up highlighting? You're highlighting both sides. So what you're doing is, you're basically creating a line, and you're blending from this way, and you go back and create the line again, and you blend from this way, and that's the trick. The hardest part is like a round surface, like bald heads. You'd be surprised how many bald heads are on miniatures. It's ridiculous.
No, actually.
So whenever you get that you get that highlight point, so you gotta not only blend from two directions, you're blending from basically every direction.
You still
So
kind of
gotta-
use that same dot
You're
technique,
using the same thing. You're going from a dot though instead of doing like a little pie.
Yep.
Or you can do a little pie if you're really really good. You can do the little pie area and do a little triangle, and you just
Keep doing
you make
that.
like a pie chart around the head. I personally try to use a dot because I like sharp highlights.
Yeah.
That's already round as well.
Exactly. So you get exactly. So you just do the little dot. You do it from one side. Do a little dot. The only thing with that one, you got to be careful because you'll get basically a pimple. Like
You don't want to bump
because
up, yeah.
if you keep building up in the same spot, you'll end up getting a lot of paint in that one spot, and you'll end up with a pimple. But with some glazing techniques, you can make that look like a you know, like an angry red.
Tumor familiar.
We're familiar, yeah. Yeah.
I meant to do that.
I like the tumor familiar. The next wizard I make.
Don't have to be.
I'd say it was out for like a month before we saw it.
Yeah.
Are you picking a spider again, Dallas? Nope. Oh, what's your familiar? Tumor.
Yeah, it's a really creepy thing.
Weird.
Alchemist
So glad I'm not
tumor
the only one
familiar.
that
Oh
thinks
god,
that.
no, we're not talking
He's
about
like,
Like a month out, yeah.
Like
the tumor,
so
like-
I went off and started doing stuff. I was
What's your
like,
tumor's name? Quattro.
Our alchemist had a monkey-shaped tumor familiar. And he had a mini for it too. He took a monkey mini
Oh my
and
god.
actually painted it.
Okay,
like
we
a
have a
tumor.
player that would leave the game if that happened.
There you go. Pass that around.
No, and it was worse because it was a scrotum tumor.
Oh jeez.
interesting people in your party.
Nice.
The paint job was amazing.
It had like veins and stuff on it too.
I'd rather just have it on the.
So, as you can see, this is a really super fast technique
Yeah.
for getting a good effect. I'm sure y'all have all tried layering at this point, right? That takes forever.
Yeah.
It takes forever. It drives me nuts,
It
and I hate
really
painting when I
does.
have to layer. But with that, you're getting the same kind of effect in just a quick, snappy amount of time. And we're going to highlight that again because we're really going to make that shot. And then when we're done, we're going to change the color of that.
Oh, I was just gonna ask if you do values or basically.
Yeah, we're gonna do some. It depends. Like this. So I brought a couple of examples. So this is a cute little ranger chick, and she'll be fun to paint. And we can do some, like if y'all are interested in faces, we can do faces. This guy right here I brought to show, and I love this model. Like, this is called the Second Story Man. This is from the Iron Kingdoms line. And it's like a little dwarf dude up on a roof. And he's just an amazing little model. But what I did there on the priming is I primed him all black, all the way around, up, underneath, nice black. And then straight on, without letting anything get underneath, I did a pure gray primer. So you
For like
just
help with highlight.
to create that value. And then I took pure white primer and I came way up high, and I came from one direction. I didn't move it. You don't want to move it. You want, because that creates a light source. And so you cast that white down on it, and you get a natural light source. One quick way to make models look really, really, really better is to start messing with your light sources, figuring out where the light is falling on your guy. If you look at stuff in the catalogs and on the websites of the companies, they usually paint from like the light is kind of everywhere. And the reason that is because when they gotta photograph it and they gotta put it in the magazines and the websites and stuff, it's really got all the parts that need to pop out for your visual information. But for real life, when I'm actually looking at your model, you can really focus like the light is shining through a door from over here, and you can really make your model come to life by using a little bit of light,
You talk about primers. Is it P3 also? Is there different, or is it just a standard spray primer? Or
So I really like GW primer. It's a spray primer, but it's $15 a can. Blech. The P3 primer is about $8 a can, and it's slightly better.
okay,
I honestly don't think there's anything else good.
okay.
Yeah, so you've tried the Army Painter?
Do not like. It's one, I feel it's a little rubbery. Does that ring true for anybody else, or is that just my personal preference?
I haven't tried it, that's why.
I feel it's a little rubbery, and also the tooth is a little. Does everybody understand tooth? The
how
grit,
rough.
the grab is a little thick in my opinion. So you want like a really, really nice tooth, and the P3 primer gives you that. The GW primer gives you that, but the GW primer does it for $8 more, double the price. And it's not worth it. There is some auto primers called Duplicolor. That stuff is awesome. Duplicolor. That is what these are actually primed with. Is Duplicolor. You actually get that in the auto pilot store So like, what do y'all have up here? I just moved up here, so I have no idea what's up here.
From
AutoZone?
the state.
AutoZone?
Yeah,
AutoZone.
Not familiar
No,
there.
nobody's.
O'Reilly's might be up here.
O'Reilly's, stuff like that. You can go any of your auto parts zone. If you're from the Midwest, AutoZone.